might look like something you haven't seen before, but you've really seen something like this before. Okay, you've definitely seen something that's got an x in it, but that f of x, this is what we call function notation. And guys, that's just another way of saying, I'm going to go into more detail at a later date, but it's really just another way of saying y, or output, or dependent variable. Just add it to the list of different ways to say y. Okay, so in order to type this equation into our graphing calculator, we are going to go to the y equals button on your calculator. So that red button that you can see highlighted, it's in the same spot on your calculator that it is on mine. See where my button that says y equals? So everybody's screen should look like this. So now to type in that equation, we are simply going to hit the negative button. I know it's going to take a lot longer the first couple of times we've done it because this is new for you guys, all right? So the negative button. Okay, then we're going to type this little alpha button right there. On your calculator, it should be right kind of next to the arrows. That's how we put in variables.
It didn't work.
I'm sorry, the one, you're right. I'm sorry, ma'am. The one next to the alpha. So, everybody got it? Yes, there you go. And then plus 3. So negative x plus 3. Then we want to see what that graph looks like. What button do you think we might hit to see what it looks like? Hit the graph button, yep.
It didn't work. Just like this.
Okay, so chances are if yours doesn't look like mine, we need to adjust the window. So click on that. Even if yours does look like mine, do this anyway. Click on window. So what I'm telling my calculator to do is I'm telling it that I want my x to go from negative 10 to positive 10. And I want my y to go from negative 10 to positive 10. Kind of like a standard, like it goes all the way to positive 10 on one side, goes all the way to negative 10 on the other side. If your window doesn't match my window, that would explain why your graph doesn't look like mine. Yes, because you're telling your calculator to look at a different area of the graph than I'm getting mine to. This is what we call the standard window. The other thing that's important is not only that I'm doing negative 10 and positive 10. Look where my cursor is blinking right now where it says scale. Scale means, and see how mine says scale equals 1? That's telling my calculator to make each little line only go up by 1. So if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, that's why yours is going to be off. Again, this is just called a standard window. This is the plain, the most basic of windows. This is what we tend to use. So now, so you need to have not just a negative 10 and a positive 10. The scale also needs to say 1, telling it's going up by 1 every time. Then your y minimum, your smallest y value in the window needs to be negative 10. And your biggest needs to be a positive 10. And it also needs to be going up by 1. So now that you've got your graph adjusted, if you hit graph again, now your window should look like mine. Oh, you know what? Yours is just... Which graph number did we just find, or what graph letter? So now you've got 6 graphs in front of you. One of them is negative x plus 3. What letter is that, ma'am? L. Letter L. Do we agree?
Yes.
Okay. So on the back, or actually, don't even put it on the back. Kind of put it like, so letter L, right here. So write on your letter L, write that equation. So f of x equals negative x plus 3. So that you know what equation matches that graph. So write that function, negative x plus 3. Today's going to be slow going because it's the first time we've used the graphing calculators, and it's fine. I want you to try to put in your graphing calculator, f of x is equal to x. Based on what we just did, what do you think you're going to do? Find f of x is equal to x. And then out of the 5 graphs you have left, you should get one of them to be f of x is equal to x. So, oh, you could. Just put it in. Okay, I want you to try to type it in there yourself. If you mess it up, who cares? You know you've done the right thing if you get a graph that matches what you got. Guys, so remember, f of x is more or less just another way of saying y. So to type in f of, I'm going to go into more details about that at a later time, but in order to type f of x is equal to x, what you can do is you can actually just hit clear to clear out what you got. You don't need to go to the next one and just type. So what are we going to type in our calculator? Just a x, right? Just that. Do we have anything to add this time?
No.
Nope, it's just a plain old x. Graph it.
I figured it out. But how do you
Okay, guys, Parrish just asked a great question because she still has her equation from before in there. You can just go up to that and you can just hit clear. Or you could leave it in there. It doesn't matter. So what graph number did we get, or letter did we get? So f of x is equal to x is graph f. So let's find f here. So write f of x is equal to x. If you think you already know what to do, I would love for you to just keep putting those equations in there. I'm going to give you another one. Okay, so f of x is equal to x. Why do you think so? It's the only one left with a straight line, right? And it's also going through the number 2. So that's a good guess, too. Good reason to guess. Put it in your calculator, see? So f of x is equal to 2. I know today is slow going because this is new for us. Does that say 2x or what does that say? It just says 2. What did I say? F of x is another way of saying. So that's really just another way of saying y equals 2.
Not the one you clicked on now. No, the one I'm talking about.
Hold on. Are we all comfortable with what y equals 2 looks like?
Yeah.
Figured we are. I'm getting ready to show you, ma'am. Okay, so what I'd like you to do real quick, though, if you haven't already, on the R, write f of x equals 2 on there so that you know what equation goes with it. Now we're ready for a fun one with a fraction. Let's do this one. Bless you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to y equals and I'm going to clear out what I had in there. So again, this is just another way of saying y equals. So that's why we're clicking the y equals button. I need to figure out how I'm going to put that fraction into my graphing calculator. What is a fraction bar? Another way of saying, guys? Division. So what do we think might be a good guess for how we're going to get 1/2 into that calculator?
1 divided by 2.
1 divided by, thank you for raising your hand though, ma'am. You're right. 1 divided by 2. So it's okay. Now, no, if there are parentheses there, make sure that you're putting parentheses in there too. So we're going to open our parentheses. Y'all should be helping each other. I can talk over you. I want you guys to be talking. So did everybody see? I did open parentheses.
He said to copy everything that's on the paper.
Okay, I'm going to do that again for those of you who need it. Just be a little quieter. Okay, so open parentheses. 1 divided by 2.
1 divided by 2. Close parentheses.
Close the parentheses. That will get you 1/2. Oh, we're not done yet, though.
I know. We gotta do the carrots.
Because I got a little X up there.
You want to know how to do it?
Easy. I remember this in 7th
Oh.
grade.
That's what I'm talking about. Like this.
We're not going to, you could do that.
How do you do the little slanty thing? Slanty thing.
The little slanty thing.
Division.
Okay, yeah, this is the division button. Okay, now I'm going to raise that 1/2 to, in this case, to an exponent of x. There's a few ways you can do it. I'm going to show you the way I prefer. If you like it a different way, you can do it a different way. This is just how I do it. If you zoom in, there's a little button right there. It looks like a little, the one that has highlighted on mine, it looks like a little arrow. It's kind of like a little arrow that's lifting the number up. It's called a caret, C-A-R-A-T, like, not like a carrot that you eat, like 24 karat gold.
It didn't work.
Like that kind of carrot.
It didn't work.
Okay, I'll look at it in 1 second so we can see. Okay, so if you've got a little cursor that's blinking up there now, what button are you going to hit to get that X? I did it right. Some of you guys, it's just going to show a caret. If you have an old calculator, because my overhead one is kind of a newer one. And then what's the exponent here?
X.
I don't see no 1 there. What's that exponent? It's an X. So we're just going to type the X, that link button. Now, here is where 99.9% of you are going to go wrong in a second. I'm getting ready to do something wrong. Okay? So I've got my X that's up there in my exponent.
You're going to end up in a small.
If I put in minus, where's my minus? It's up there with the exponent. That's not where I want
You
it.
got to put the cursor down.
Yes, ma'am. So I have to hit clear to go back. Hit X again. And then I need to hit the little arrow to the right to get it out of the exponent. Because I want the minus to be big out to the side, not little up with the exponent. Does that make sense? So I got then just do the rest of it, minus 5.